Let me ask you a question. How is teaching pre-K different from, say, fourth grade, or even third, second, or first grade? It's an entirely different animal, isn't it? So if you've been moved down to pre-K from a higher grade, or you're brand new to teaching pre-K, then this episode of Elevating Early Childhood is for you. Oh, and if you're an administrator, an instructional coach, or a teacher who works with other teachers in this situation, then you will also find this episode helpful. You see, I've worked with many teachers in this situation over the years, both in the classroom and in my Teaching Trailblazers mentorship program. In fact, help! I'm teaching pre-K next year has been trending in my inbox for the entire month of May, just like it has every year since I started pre-K pages back in 2001. And I get it. I really do. The fear of the unknown is so powerful, it can entirely ruin your summer if you let it. The struggle is real. Everything seems out of your control. So you focus on what you can control, and you spend hours and hours of your summer scouring the web for the very best ideas for teaching pre-K and buying hashtag all the things to make your classroom look amazing. Because maybe, just maybe, if your classroom looks amazing, nobody will notice how terrified you are because you have no idea what to teach or how to teach it. And if you're watching TikTok to get those amazing teaching ideas, you'll be in for a rude awakening when you try it out in your own classroom and it flops big time. Now, just in case you're wondering what on earth I'm talking about, here are a few specific examples from teachers I've worked with over the years. And don't worry, all names have been changed to protect the innocent. First up is Megan. She was a brand new pre-K teacher with no prior teaching experience. Her classroom was all set up and ready to go on the first day of school, and she was super excited to meet all of her little darlings. But by the end of her very first day, she was in tears because her kids had completely destroyed her classroom. You see, it turns out that Megan had put scissors in the supply caddies on each of the tables in her classroom. Now, I know all of you seasoned veterans out there listening or watching are horrified by this, but remember, Megan was a first-year pre-K teacher. Her kids ended up practicing their cutting skills on everything in the classroom, including their own hair and even their friends' hair in some cases. And those cute throw pillows that she found at Target to put in her classroom library, you know the ones I'm talking about. Yeah, those were shredded along with a bunch of the books that she also bought with her own money. What Megan really needed was specific early childhood training to help her better understand child development and executive function skills, along with a trusted mentor that she could ask questions to. And then there was Sweet Hannah, everyone's favorite fourth grade teacher. And she got suddenly moved down from fourth grade to pre-K. And she thought, how hard could it be, right? But Hannah, she was ready to throw in the towel after her first day in pre-K. She was completely exhausted and desperately wanted to go back to fourth. She never had any problems with her principal when she taught fourth grade, but after just one day in pre-K, she was his biggest problem. You see, she let her kids go to the bathroom alone, and they ended up clogging the two toilets in A hall, which meant everybody in A hall now had to go to B hall to use the bathroom. And that meant everybody on that side of the school was late for lunch. Then the unthinkable happened. One child eloped from her classroom, down the hallway, out the door, into the parking lot, and was last seen headed for the street, which meant the entire front office staff had to go and chase after him before they made it on the 5 o'clock news. As if that wasn't enough. Finally, during dismissal on that very same day, all of her pre-K parents parked in the pickup line, which, if you know anything about elementary pickup lines, is a huge no-no. Traffic started to back up into the main street, down the main street, and over one block, which is where the expressway was. And that, my friends, is what sent her principal over the edge. It turns out what Hannah needed was a trusted mentor who could help her identify the exact rules, routines, and procedures that she needed to have in place on that first day, and how to teach those rules, routines, and procedures to her students and parents so they would understand. And that brings me to Emily. She worked in a very small rural school district where there was one teacher per grade level, and she was moved from second to pre-K to replace a retiring teacher. Now, Emily had been a second grade teacher for a while, and she was used to having things very organized, and she had all of her lessons in second grade planned out through Christmas before the first day of school. So you know how Emily spent her summer. She planned all of her pre-K lessons in advance too. But she was completely crushed when all of her plans crumbled on that very first day of school. Here's the thing. All of these teachers who were new to pre-K, they all needed the same 4 things. And because we just don't have enough acronyms in the education field already, I created another one for you. And it's TEAM, T-E-A-M. And the first letter is T, which stands for training and curriculum. Not just any training and curriculum, but specific training and curriculum designed just for pre-K. That is what teachers new to pre-K need. And that brings me to E for expectations. And what teachers new to pre-K need to have are age-appropriate expectations grounded in child development and executive function skill development. What worked in grades 1, 2, 3, or even 4th grade do not work in pre-K. Next up is the letter A. And A, I took some liberties here, is ask questions. What it really means is a community where new teachers can go to ask questions and get helpful advice right away. And finally, the M stands for mentorship. And not just somebody who's going to give you a bunch of stuff that they already have, but somebody who has actually walked in your shoes, someone who has tons of experience teaching pre-K, and someone who can help guide you every step of the way with zero judgment or drama. And sometimes having another team member to ask questions to isn't always enough. And what good is having an age-appropriate curriculum if you don't have a trusted mentor by your side to explain how to use it and how to teach the content so young children will learn and understand? Listen, communities, they're everywhere these days. What teachers new to pre-K really need is a supportive community filled with trusted advice so they don't waste any time. And that, my friends, is exactly why I started my Teaching Trailblazers mentorship program. It's not a luxury. It's what you deserve so you can be the best teacher that you know you can be. It's what every school district should provide for their pre-K teachers, but they don't. It's also a place where you can find a year's worth of age-appropriate, standards-aligned pre-K curriculum. One where everything is laid out for you week by week in an easy-to-use format. There are more than 70 hours of on-demand professional development training just for pre-K teachers. Not some generic K-12 training that has absolutely nothing to do with teaching pre-K.
David, I cannot show you everything.
Okay, well, can you show me one thing?
Here's what you do. You just fold it in.
And all the age-appropriate routines and procedures you'll need to have in place to get your classroom running like a well-oiled machine. There's also a supportive community of like-minded teachers who are always willing to lend a listening ear and give helpful advice. That's what all of our Trailblazer students have access to 24/7 at their fingertips. And those emails I mentioned earlier, you know, the ones that were trending in my inbox, those teachers are already on the inside taking advantage of all that Trailblazers has to offer so they can have the best year ever. If you'd like to join them, go to teachingtrailblazers.com and apply today. Oh, and there's one more thing I almost forgot to tell you. All of our Teaching Trailblazers students get an extended access pass to my annual Soar to Success Summit. It's the virtual early childhood event of the season with up to 18 hours of relevant sessions to get you revved up and excited for next school year. And you don't just get to watch the sessions, you'll also get access to all of the recordings, audio, written transcripts, quizzes, and certificates. So there you have it, everything you need to have your best first year in pre-K. And if you have any friends who could benefit from this episode, don't forget to share it with them. Until next time, I'm Vanessa Levin. Onward and upward.